Hi there, Leslie M. Thornton, Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss. Today we're talking about healing the inner child. So, some of you hearing this topic are like, oh, yeah, inner child work. I've already done that, know all about it. Some of you are like, inner child, what is that? And some of you might have kind of it's like, yeah, inner child work. Heard about it, know about it, don't really care. Maybe I tried it once, don't really get it, didn't really make that big of a difference for me. And maybe I know that category the best because that used to be me, kind of. I just remember there being certain coaches that were out there that'd be talking about inner child work. And I'd be like, ugh, like, what do you mean inner child work? And they'd be like, this one was talking, she was like, I was talking to my inner child and I realized that, you know, whatever, all these kinds of things. It was when I was in uh, Oakland. It was above that. It was like Berkeley, California. I think it was last year. And it was at this event, and this woman was doing relationship coaching and intimacy coaching. And that was what one of her clients was saying. Oh, the inner child and this and that and the other thing. And I was just kind of like, yeah, okay, heard about that inner child thing, but it doesn't really resonate with me. And fast forward to today, it being such a major part of the work that we're doing and really fully understanding that. And I guess for me, as the science nerd, and maybe for some of you listening who are kind of in that same category, to understand on a scientific level of what people are talking about when they talk about inner child. So, something we talk about all the time here is how the first 0 to about 10 years of your life is when the blueprint of your subconscious mind is laid out. And that really influences how we react, how we respond to different things that happen to us in our life. Right. So, our emotional world is very much kind of laid out. And you could think about this for yourself. So, whenever you get angry or upset or mad, what is your process? Do you give people the silent treatment? Do you isolate yourself and do you go dark? Do you get angry and slam doors? Do you lash out? Right? Like, what do you do when you get emotional and upset? Okay. And so, what the window of awareness is for that is getting that whenever we have that emotional world happening, that really it could be framed as it's the inner child that is acting out. Okay, so I was just talking to a client the other day, and he was talking about how he, in the past, had been quick to just react and respond and say what he wants to say, and sometimes hurt people's feelings because of that. And so, because he's committed to this work and wanting to do things a different way, I coached him in how just staying with an emotion for 30 seconds, staying with the emotion for 30 seconds, it takes 30 seconds for emotion to move through your body. And then to kind of see where you're at then, and then make a decision for how you want to respond back or react versus in that moment of the trigger of the emotion kind of ripe and raw in your body at that moment. And he practiced it over the past week. And what he found was that he actually had clarity of his thoughts and his thinking when he actually just breathed into the emotion that he was feeling for 30 seconds. That was it. And something that you can practice as you're going throughout your day. And what I said to him was how, when you think about it, none of us have sane thoughts or thinking when we're coming from an emotional place. And similar to how, as children, timeouts is a form of punishment, if you will, that are used of like, go take a break, time to take a timeout. And I'm sure those timeouts are usually about 30 seconds, if not many more minutes longer, to just cool off and then come back and say something or then come back and play. And I said, essentially, as adults, we're learning how to do that same thing for ourselves. And so many of us, because we're not used to staying with our feelings or becoming aware of the inner child and how it's acting out and maybe upset, right, could actually really need that time and space and what we're doing is we're feeling that feeling when we're not aware of it. And then what do? We head right to the fridge, open up that refrigerator door, start snacking, start eating all sorts of food, right? And that becomes the habit and pattern, totally innocent. Nobody wants to feel bad. And we found this amazing coping mechanism that if we have something sweet or something salty or something crunchy, that it supports us in moving through and past that emotion. And when it comes to wanting to create a better, healthier version of yourself and someone who has more emotional mastery capabilities, then we might start to get keyed onto this type of work. And yes, inner child and reparenting kind of things. So there was something that I actually saw on Facebook the other day that I thought was really helpful when it came to the inner child. Because like I was saying before with how the first 0 to 10 years of our life are very crucial, right? So some of us have experienced some form of trauma. Some of us may not have. Some of us may have had a great upbringing. And yet still somewhere along the way, some of these fears that are normal human, animalistic, because we are animals type of fears that could come in. Okay. And then what happens is that when we're interacting in our day-to-day lives, whether it's with a boss or whether it's with a partner or whether it's with a spouse or a child, right? Then some of these things can come up from the past. And it's less important. It's really not that important to understand exactly where and when did I get these things ingrained in my subconscious. It doesn't really matter. What matters is you have awareness that, hey, this is a pattern for me, that every time that someone says X, Y, and Z to me, or every time that I don't get invited to a party, or every time that I see someone who's lost weight, right? Or every time that I see someone eating a piece of cheesecake who's super thin, right? I get upset. Or every time I say something, I feel scared that I said the wrong thing, right? Once we become aware of that pattern and you start to study yourself, treat yourself like a science experiment, like I always say to my clients, then you can bring in different tools and different ways of acting and being that can really make a difference. Okay, so I wanted to share this with you today, and I am going to read this as I'm reading it. So there's 4 types of trauma that it says within this. So number 1 is rejection trauma. Number 2 is abandonment trauma. Number 3 is betrayal trauma. And number 4 is injustice trauma. So, with rejection trauma, and again, it doesn't really matter, just listen to see if this could be a pattern for you as I go through them. So, symptoms are you easily make negative assumptions about what others are thinking. And obviously, when we are obsessed about food, body, and weight, maybe we've put on some weight or whatever, it's like we may be the type of person that's obsessed about what other people are thinking about us. You worry about letting people in, right? So maybe you have different ways of kind of like keeping people at arm's length. Okay. You find compromising difficult, right? And even if it's not absolutely everything that you're seeing here, just listen to it, take what makes sense and let go of what doesn't. And you're a people pleaser. Okay. So always trying to make other people happy, kind of abandoning yourself to do that. All right. So if this is you, what it recommends is meditation. So 30 minutes of affirmations that you can listen to is positive energy nourishes my body and helps me radiate joy to others. Positive energy nourishes my body and helps me radiate joy to others. It's really nice. And then a happy, joyful life is being created for me right now. Okay. So if that's you, it's just having that awareness of like, oh, yeah, that's true. And this is getting in my way of having the most free and self expressed life that I could have. So let me do something about that. Okay. The second one here is abandonment trauma. So symptoms are fear of being left behind or abandoned, inability to form healthy relationships in the teenage or adult years, low self esteem and feelings of self worth, and depression. Okay. And then the betrayal trauma. So symptoms, trouble recognizing and expressing or managing emotions, anxiety, depression, and other mental health symptoms, nightmares, and panic attacks. And that one's for betrayal. Okay. So if you have trouble recognizing and expressing or managing emotions, anxiety, depression, and other mental health symptoms, nightmares, panic attacks, then maybe that's that betrayal part. So then you can kind of be on the lookout, like, oh, then you get to have more compassion for your inner child because, like, oh, honey, I hear you. I know that you're feeling triggered right now, that you're being betrayed or that you're being abandoned. And I want to let you know that I am here now. I'm taking care of you. I'm going to keep you safe. Right. And like we can trust ourselves. We can, right, trust that what we're saying is what we need to say. Right. This one says every challenge I face is an opportunity to grow and improve. My contributions are unique and meaningful. Okay. So because sometimes it's so easy that when we're out there, we're pointing all the fingers out there. You made me feel this way. This is so bad and wrong. I can't believe this happened. How dare you? Right. And then we just shut that person out and then nothing gets accomplished. But when we come from this place of self awareness and looking inward and starting to get to know ourselves and, yes, our inner child of, oh, it's just this part of me that feels really scared. Right. And we all have this. And I find that the people who are most successful and that are most brave and the most powerful, they actually have the most scared inner child very often. Right. And so when people actually become leaders of integrity, is when they actually master this part of their emotional world as well. When they have formed or formulated some sort of relationship with their inner child, whether they call it that or not, there is that warmth, there's that compassion towards self of when hard things happen, because we all have this as human beings. Injustice trauma is the final one. So symptoms are chronic chest or back pain, feeling fatigued or drained, unpredictable and irrational emotions, and disorientation and short attention span. And the affirmations here: I deserve to feel safe, comfortable, and confident in this body. I accept myself the way I am. My body is perfect the way it is. And this was from It's Better Me Meditation and Sleep. It was an app that I guess you could download. So, you know, just something to raise your awareness around of instead of just constantly, right? It's just something that I see all the time with clients is that the reason that we have the panic or anxiety around food or the fact that we're using food to numb is because we're numbing away, right, these deeper wounds from our inner children that are happening in the background. Okay. And there's nothing wrong or bad about it. Like I said, it's a normal thing. Most human beings use substances to numb out on their pain. Right. And that's why our health is in such an interesting place, especially in the United States, all over the place. But what if you were to actually take on the endeavor of not only being able to solve your food and body and weight loss problem that you've been having your entire life, but you were actually able to tackle it in a way that promised you that it would last because you are 100% investing in becoming aware and discovering the parts of yourself that you have never actually identified before. Right. And this is not a journey for everyone, and it doesn't have to be anybody's journey. Nobody has to do this work. But I guarantee anybody that does not do this work, who has been struggling with food, body, and weight their entire life, that you will continue to do more diets, more quick fixes, and you will continue to gain the weight back because you're not working on the foundation things in the background, holding you back from changing your emotional and vibrational state on a day-to-day basis. The path of health and well-being is a never-ending journey. There are constantly new awarenesses. And I firmly believe and see it in my own life all the time that I become aware of what I need to become aware of exactly when I need to become aware of it. Right? Last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even if somebody was saying something like this to me today, it would go in one ear and out the other because I wasn't ready for that. It wasn't what my consciousness was calling for me to start working on in this part of my life. Right. But then today, right, even when I was at that convention talking about the inner child, I was like, like I don't really get it. Like, okay, it seems a little weird. But then to now fast forward to today where I'm teaching it and living it and being it my own way and constantly parenting myself and learning more and more about my emotions and my attachments. Right. Recently, I got very aware of my attachment to happiness. Of I need everybody to be happy. Right. How many of you can relate to that? So many of us can have that people pleasing tendency. right? But then realizing that actually unhappiness, others, allowing others to be unhappy and to not have my happiness need to be affected by someone else's happiness, right? And I'm sure, some of you are like, yeah, that's codependence, right? I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I don't know all the answers like that, right? But I do know that now that I'm aware of these things, it's making a major difference, right? Because now I can just let someone else be unhappy and I can still stay happy. And I can trust that maybe they're supposed to be unhappy right now. What if I was to let them go through their own emotional journey and process and trust that whatever life brought them, because they were in their own space, figuring that thing out in whatever way that they need to figure it out, right? We need to feel pain in order. You needed to feel pain to start listening to this podcast. Thank God, right? Because for so many of you that email us every day, it's like you're speaking my language, right? But sometimes it's like we know deep down that there has to be another answer to this weight loss thing. And we get to the end of our rope with dieting and exercising, but we don't have that answer. And we might be praying. I have people who are like, you're the answer to my prayers. I've been praying for this for however much time. And I was in the same boat, right? Praying, oh, please. I just really want to know how to be able to share this hypnosis with the world. I was on my knees on my yoga mat when I had my first apartment, probably 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and just asking, like, please, like, if there is a God, just show me how that I can make this happen for people. It's changed my life. The world needs this work. Right. And then every step of the way, there's been random, podcasts that have ended up in my email inbox, and, different coaches and different experiences, and just everything that I said yes to on my pathway of trying to discover and find out this thing with weight has led me to today, right? Where my life is about way more than food. Now it's like emotional mastery and continuing to be in service in the world. And I'm not saying that that's your path. I didn't think that it was my path, but what I am saying is that once you get that key to Pandora's box and you're actually able to dig in deep into yourself and say, what's happening? Where are my blocks? Where am I getting stuck? Where is my emotional mastery just not masterful at all? Right? Because we all have spaces that we just still get triggered and things come up and it doesn't work out the way that we want it to. And then we do the same old, same old. We numb it away, right? You might be perfect on your diet for a long period of time. You feel great. You feel on top of the world. You're untouchable. You're happy. And then one thing happens that was out of your control, and now you're binging, and then you're all the way back down that rabbit hole. And I don't want that for you anymore. There is a better way, and it can feel so beautiful and so nourishing. Something that I say to my clients all the time is consider the fact that what you've been craving for all this time has been intimacy and self-love and compassion. I know that sounds airy fairy. When I used to hear things about like, oh, self-love and compassion class like that, it was like, no, I don't want to do self-compassion. And like, I don't like, this isn't like anything else, right? What makes me unique is because I have the science behind it, right? To really understand and like pave it in there for you, but then also give you the tools that create that feeling inside your body while you can still go back and kick butt at your life. Right. So what would it be like for you to have that? What would it be like for you to not yo-yo diet anymore? And I really mean that. You won't yo-yo diet anymore. You'll never have to go back to a diet ever again. You can have ice cream any day of the week. You can have takeout any day of the week for the rest of your life. The freedom, the peace of mind, the presence, the getting to relax with your friends and family without you always being in that isolated box of having to control and make sure you don't have that. And it's like you're not able to be out there with life and receive all of the beauty and gifts around you because you're constantly trying to manipulate what happens to your body. And then even when you try to manipulate it and you're successful for a little bit of time, you'll end up binging and gaining it all back. It happened to me over and over again. I tried to trick myself a bunch of times and say, oh, well, just one more diet. Oh, well, this one actually looks great and it looks completely different. Right. And I know that as you're listening to me, it's like, yeah, well, you're a hypnosis for permanent weight loss. Like This is like another thing. This is not a weight loss plan. This is not a weight loss plan. This is getting that the areas of your life that are not working, the feelings that are left over in your body from you're not communicating yourself clearly, from you're not expressing yourself, from you're not knowing how to love and comfort the inner child who is still distraught from the past, right? And it shows up in your relationships. I guarantee you have issues still going on with your parents, your family, your significant other, right? And sometimes we brush them under the rug and it's like, no, everything's fine. But like, is it fine? Because something that I know for sure is that if your relationship with yourself and your emotions and your body and your weight and your food and your career, if that isn't all, and it's not to say that there's any perfect day or utopia, that's always a work in progress. But if you don't have some sort of support in those areas, then the first place that you're going to continue to turn to in those stressful moments or feeling out of control is food. Right? So while the path of health and well-being is a never-ending journey, it starts and it begins and it ends within your going on that journey within. And it can't happen till it happens. And I'm asking you today to actually book a call with us and get started today. I hear some people that are like, oh, maybe I'm going to go and look. Don't look for anything else. I really get, it's just like to be 100% honest, don't look anywhere else. Why? Even one of my coaches on my team was talking about how, Leslie, I have been in this world for so many years and have picked up little tidbits of information that have helped. You found a way to put all that stuff, right? This has been since I've been 8 years old of being obsessed with this and learning and discovering. And one of my biggest self-creative passions or whatever is self, right? I am 100% always studying and being aware of myself, right? Not from a way of trying to fix or change, but just because I know that if I master my own emotional and mental world, then I can make a bigger difference for not only myself, I can continue to manifest and create everything that I want in my life that I want all human beings to be able to get to do, right? And that's the thing is that then it helps your life, right? So this train is running, whether you get on it or not, right? And we're only going faster and we're going farther. And to be honest, like the longer that you wait to actually say yes and sign up for this program today, to be honest, the price isn't going to stay the same. I've already been having conversations about that. It's getting too popular and it's going to go up and it's going to be, it's going to be different. It's going to change. So if you've been listening to this podcast for I don't know how long, right? And you haven't taken any action yet, I really invite you to take it now. It's summertime. There's a lot of emotions up. There's a lot of family situations up, right? I always get the most phone calls around Memorial Day and 4th of July because it's like and now COVID's done and picnics and parties and the stress of that. I used to be like, yeah, the way that maybe you are now about those things, like really stressed about those parties and situations. I got to pack my own food. Oh my God, what am I going to wear? I need to make excuses to not actually be seen. I need to, oh my gosh, Aunt so-and-so is going to be there and they're going to start talking to me about this. And I hate that. It's just like family was the worst. Fast forward to now, it's like, I can't wait to be with my family. I have absolutely nothing in my space except really wanting to know how my family is doing. But that didn't come without any work. That came with me doing absolutely every tool that you're going to get within the Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss program, of me 100% committing to understanding, to find out what I didn't know that I didn't know about myself, and to start taking actions in a different direction that I had not taken before, because my coach promised me that it would get me a different kind of result. And guess what? It always did. And I've taken all of the years of coaching that I've invested in, all the coaching I've invested in, which has been a lot, right? Probably at least, oh gosh, I really want to actually give you an actual number. I would say that at this point, I've invested $100,000 in coaching from some of the best coaches that, on relationships, on career, on leadership, on food, body, and weight, big time, right? And now it's all compacted into giving you this amazing program that in 8 weeks can completely transform your relationship with food, body, and weight for the rest of your life. No diets ever again, having happier, healthier relationships, being present and at peace with your friends and family, with yourself, not having to worry about all of these things happening anymore. Your life is waiting for you on the other side. So book a call for yourself today. There's no pressure for that call. It's one call just to see and find out if we can help you out. No strings attached at all. And we'll see you on the other side. Have a great day.